Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 75929, the Carnotaurus Gyrosphere Escape. This set was released in 2018 as part of the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom line, and was first available in spring of the year, in April, middle of April. And the set contains 577 pieces and retails for $79.99. Contains 3 minifigures and 2 dinos, and I was able to find it on clearance because the box was opened for $48. So let's take a closer look. So the set has 2 instruction booklets, and I really like the design of the instructions. The first one is nothing special, but the second one does have a couple interesting ads, including one for Ninjago spinners, which I just found a little odd and wanted to point out. Aside from that, there is an ad for all of the regular retail sets, and one that shows all the dinos, and I believe that this is the wrong set number for that T-Rex, and that shouldn't be shown. I believe this is the junior set number, and it shows the one from the retail exclusive set, and just a LEGO Life ad with Jurassic World characters on the back. But the actual builds here, we've got a truck, and we've got this Gyrosphere launcher thing. But we're going to start with a look at the Carnotaurus, because, that is the namesake of the set, pretty much. One of the 2 main namesakes of the set. And it is the first LEGO dinosaur, well, like, large LEGO dinosaur, not the baby ones, that I have gotten. So, it was exciting for me. In terms of articulation, we've got the legs, which can move up and down fully, and we've got the arms, which can move up and down. These are a new part that were designed for this guy and the Stiggy Moloch from the same wave. So, I believe they're the same color, too. The printing on here is all really nice. It looks good. I like the printing on the head, but we'll take a closer look at that in a second. The tail is the same as the Indominus Rex from last year, same mold, different color and printing as well, and it can just rotate 360 degrees around. Also, notice that there is a regular brown stripe going down in between the dark browns. Really good printing, again, all throughout the body piece. Both the legs have the same printed design, just mirrored, and the body is also the same mold as the Indominus Rex. The head piece is cool. It's a brand new mold for this guy. It can rotate all the way around 360 degrees, as well as move up and down as far as, it can go without being restricted. It has a decent range of motion, and you can get some, kind of sideways looking expressions. I wish that you could turn it like this way while it was up and down, if you know what I mean, like completely side to side, but the limitations of the parts and joints wouldn't allow that. I think that's okay, but that just would have made it a little better. There is some cool printing on the tops of these eyebrow kind of protrusions, horns maybe, and I like the printing for the eyes. That looks nice and menacing, and the mouth can open up. The mouth is, the bottom jaw is a separate part, and they do a good job printing the teeth there. It locks in that position and that position. Both of them look a little bit awkward. I think the best look you can get is kind of placing it in between, and I wish that there was a third locking position there. But, I'm okay with the amount of motion it has, because you can get it into that position, and it will stay like this for quite a bit of time unless you touch it. And then it will go back to its regular position. But overall, I think that it is a cool design for a dinosaur, and it's nice to get an exclusive one in this set, especially an exclusive species. And this here is the little Gyrosphere docking area, or Gyrosphere. It's basically where the Gyrosphere ride would start from, back when it was Jurassic World and not just an overgrown island. I really like the sign, and just the graphic design on there is amazing. They did a great job with that. I like it a lot. And the stickers here are good. They're nothing super special. From the back, it looks relatively plain, but there is some technique there. And up on the top there is this little lever here. I'll reference that later in the review. They do a decent job of covering up the roof. From the side it looks okay. There's some cool plants, nice new plant pieces here. The gyrosphere we'll take a look at separately, but this plunger right here allows you to, you know, push the gyrosphere and it will roll off really nicely. This is pretty good feature, and I like it quite a bit. I think it works a little bit better than the one from the Indominus Rex Breakout set, but I didn't have much experience with that because I built the set once for my cousin, but you know, that was it. This is a little interesting to me. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be with the blue. I would guess maybe a ride queue, like they'd walk up there. It's supposed to be a suggestion of that, but it's like really overgrown. That's the best guess I've got. And over here there's a little nest which comes with 3 eggs. There is an additional one stored somewhere else in the set. That looks cool, and you can put the little baby dino over here and it can be, you know, hatching from the nest. I think that's cool. I'll take a closer look at that later, of course. More foliage pieces. The whole tree build is cool. I like it. It's a little weird because it's like cut off randomly, but you get a lot of good plant pieces around here. Up top there is some lava, and that second little lever, this one right here, you just pull it back and out will come 5 of these 2x2 round bricks, and they'll kind of fall. Some of them will hit the leaf and go this way. That does a good job of helping to scatter everything. One other thing I wanted to notice, or wanted to make note of though, is that in its regular position that is not flush and flat. Also there's some tiles in there to represent lava even when this thing is pushed all the way down. So you can kind of see the lava like dripping from there. It gets a little stuck sometimes, but for the most part it's good. Also there's a couple of these new flower pieces. But overall this side build I think looks pretty good and has a couple of good play features. So I think this little area is a win. From the back it doesn't look great, but I think that's, you know, forgivable for the amount of parts that they did assign to this, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And here is the truck that comes with the set. It has this trailer here, which personally I think they did a good job trying to put a bunch of detail into it, but it still is kind of a bland trailer, and I think it uses way too many parts. I would have been happier if it didn't exist at all, because yes, it can transport the gyrosphere, and it does have a little gyrosphere launching feature. It doesn't work quite as well as the one from the other build, and, you know, it does the same thing. The only thing that this has over that is that you can pull the gyrosphere around, but the gyrosphere is supposed to be able to drive on its own, so, you know, I don't know. And when the gyrosphere is not here, it looks really bland. It has these lights on the sides, which, you know, cool, I guess. And, you know, it can roll around like normal. It'll also roll when attached to the other thing. You have 2 stickers here, which just show the direction of the travel of the gyrosphere. This makes it really hard to, like this, falls off easily. And if it's possible to push the gyrosphere out while it's still attached to the truck. It's very difficult, though, because you're going to want to, like, grab here, and you'll end up knocking that off every time, pretty much. So, you know, there's a little bit of storage here, which I do appreciate that they got that in there. There are 2 bones and 1 more egg. So, you know, that's that. A little simple. The truck, though, I think, looks good. I'm not a massive fan of it. I would have preferred just a gyrosphere side build. We're going to find that to be a relatively common trend here, that gyrosphere side build is my favorite. But for what it is, I don't think that this is bad. And well, it's better than I thought it would be. Better than I was expecting. So, you know, that's a good thing. It does roll around, and the wheels are, you know, it's pretty high off the ground. Which, you know, it's not, from some lower angles it looks a little awkward, but for the most part it's good. You'll notice there's a toe ball joint there. This sticker is identical on both sides, you know. Looks good. Nice to see the Jurassic World logo on here. There's a little license plate in the front, and the detailing up here I think is really good. The whole front end with the roll bar and the lights. Looks good. I also like the mirrors, which they've got some lights here, and then they use these fence pieces as mirrors. They're a little tiny bit far back, assuming that this is supposed to be the actual mirror. But, you know, you can turn that out of the way and then open up the doors as well, which is a good feature, I think. Nice and important. There's a shovel on one side, a little exhaust, a tranquilizer gun on this side, and up on the roof we got this stud shooter, which would be shooting tranquilizer darts, presumably. And you do get a couple extra studs for that. The back here is removable. We'll take a closer look inside there in a second. But you can also remove the roof, which has this little opening here, and you can just stick a minifigure through. And, you know, he'll be popping his head up, which I think is cool. There's only room for one passenger legitimately. You can probably squeeze a second one in, maybe if you just put it one stud back. And definitely if you have him stand. If you do have him stand, though, he's not at the same level as the hatch. So, you know, if you want him to use the hatch, then you really have to just stick him in through the top. But I think that's perfectly fine, and it works well. There's also a steering wheel in there, just for Claire to drive. It also, I'm going to point out that the vehicle does look a little awkward without this back section. But you can deploy it and use it as a little mobile lab. The roof of that comes off as well, which I think is also a very nice, useful feature. This just makes it easier, I think, to pull it off. And inside, you can stand some figures. I have Franklin standing here. There's a little printed 2x2 slope computer, a wrench, and you can pull this off as well easily. It's just attached with jumpers. Nothing in the top drawer, but here in the bottom drawer we do have a blue syringe and a bone. So, you know, you could be taking some samples, doing all sorts of lab work with that. But I think overall, you get a good amount of playability with that feature, and just the entire truck. I think there's just a whole lot more that you can do with this than I was expecting. I think, honestly, my favorite part of this trailer is that, you know, you have the extra storage space, but you could easily fit that in this back, even just along this wall, where there's nothing besides the connecting pin, and you could shorten that too, to be honest. But aside from that, there's nothing special that the trailer does, really. I guess, you know, seeing this as a communications thing might add a little bit of play value, but I did want to point out that it is very difficult to get this to roll off nicely. It's doable, but it's much harder than it needs to be, and I don't know, I just don't see the point of that trailer, really. It doesn't add too much, and uses a lot of parts that I feel could have been used to better up the look of the Gyrosphere side build, which I think is a little bit more interesting than the trailer. I do feel like the Gyrosphere is a pretty significant side build, so I wanted to take a look at it on its own. It does have two of these dish pieces, which are identical. It's similar to the old one, but the color scheme is a little bit more muted on the print here, and there is a crack, and that crack is, you know, same spot both sides. And in order to open it, if you aren't familiar with the Gyrosphere design, you just pull the two halves apart. Then you have the seat here, which is free spinning, and, you know, basically allows a figure to stay level while they're rolling in the Gyrosphere. And, you know, you just seat a figure on there and snap the two halves back together pretty simply. You might have to remove the dishes to put it back together sometimes. And it doesn't really matter which direction the dishes are oriented. They can be oriented different directions if you wanted them to, or the same direction. And, you know, at that point, a figure will just roll normally. We're gonna, as much as I don't like the trailer, it is a slightly more mobile version of a Gyrosphere launcher. And, you know, you just push it out, and the figure rolls like a, you know, like a Gyrosphere. And I guess the one thing that's good about having a launcher is that it allows you to line it up so it's not rolling side to side as well as forward and back. But, you know, this is a cool little side build, and I like the Gyrospheres in the movie, so I'm glad to see them available again in yet another set, even if this is a more damaged version. First two figures we have here are Claire Deering and Franklin. Claire appears in, I believe, like 3 sets from the Fallen Kingdom line. and she looks good. Her face print is a little bit weird in representing the actor, but I think it works well enough. It's not perfect. I really like Franklin's facial print, though. The torso prints for both of them are good. They are both exclusive to these characters. Again, Claire appears in several sets with the same variant. Neither of them have leg printing, but printing on the backs of the torsos is present on both figures, and Franklin's alternate face is appropriately terrified. Claire's just looks a little nervous, but, you know, it works. Franklin also shares the same hair as Finn from Star Wars, which is a relatively uncommon hair piece. It's becoming more and more so as time moves on. And this is a slightly less common color for that ponytail hair piece. But both these figures are good and, you know, do their jobs. Finally, we have Owen and the little baby dino here. This Owen figure is exclusive. It is a new update for Fallen Kingdom, and his torso only appears in this set. The rest of him appears in several others throughout the line. This baby dinosaur is a really cute little mold. This is one of the 2 color schemes they have for it. It's got some really good printing on there with the eye. Really nice little fine detail. And I like this one, how it has the whole stripe going all the way down the back. I think that's a really cool design. I think I like this one better, even though the other one is a little bit more important to the story. The back printing on Owen's torso is good. I like the scratches that he's got on the front. The leg prints are good, again, there and all the other variants. I like this smiling face a lot. The frowning one on the other side is good. It's a good look, but I just like the smiling or the smirking expression better. I think that fits the character better. Both of them work really well as Chris Pratt faces, though, and I would have liked to see them used in the Infinity War Star-Lord minifigure instead of just the older Chris Pratt head that they used for the previous, like the first Jurassic World movies, Owen, and all of the Star-Lords so far. But both of these are really cool figures, and I really like this torso. I'd like to get one with the jacket still, you know, the regular version of Owen from this movie, but having this alternate torso print is really cool as well. And again, the dinosaur is awesome. So overall, I think that this Gyrosphere, or this Carnotaurus Gyrosphere Escape, is a pretty good set on the whole. I really like the side build here. I really like the Carnotaurus. I really like the truck part. The trailer, I don't feel like that should be there. Also, the Gyrosphere is good, but I think they should have maybe taken the parts from the trailer and used it to, you know, kind of liven up this build just a little bit more. Or alternatively, they could have removed the trailer entirely and lowered the price. Because, you know, while all of this is cool, I don't feel like it's worth $80. I think that's a little bit high. Yes, the price per piece is not 10 cents, but that makes sense because we have a dinosaur here. And that, you know, is worth more than 10 cents per piece. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. This isn't worth 80 cents. This is probably worth $10. Let's be honest. Maybe even more. So, I do think that the price per piece isn't awful. However, I think just the volume of stuff here that you get is worth closer to $70 maximum. $60 would be a wonderful, fantastic price. Probably too good. $70 though, I feel is very fair. Maybe $65 is like perfect. So, you know, you gotta keep that in mind. I think the other thing they could have done to make this just feel a little bit more worth it without adding too many more pieces is just, you know, add in another minifigure or two. I understand the minifigure selection they went with. I think that Owen, Claire, and Franklin are the only ones who are really present for this scene. But, you know, just, I feel like adding a couple other characters just would have added some play value to the set. But I do appreciate that they went with a screen-accurate minifigure selection. So, you know, overall, I think you got a lot of good stuff here. I just would wait for like a 20% off sale. Walmart's regular price seems to be 20% off, $64. So, you know, pick this up from Walmart. I think that's a good price. I don't really have a problem with that. You know, as I said, 65. I think that's a good price. But, you know, I don't think I would recommend this at full price. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Also, I do want to put in a brief disclaimer here. I did only pay $48, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So, you know, you keep that in mind. With the price I paid, I'm really happy with it. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think of this set, and if you think it is worth the $80 price. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.